get a couple shots there. Beautiful morning. It's not too cold. It's 41 degrees up here. But when I've done this other times, my fingers have been absolutely frozen, and it wasn't that bad this morning. It's about 5:30 now, and since it's still so early, I'm gonna head north, continue northwest here on the Gunflint, and see if I can find another little pullout with a lake or something, and just do some photos, maybe a little bit of video. I'll share that with you if there's anything interesting. But as much as I love autopilot, this is one of those kind of back roads with some curves and some character to it that really makes driving the Model Y fun. Not going super fast or anything, just enjoying the feel of the road. I think I've seen literally 2 vehicles on the trail here, so open roads and lots of fun. I think I've talked about how my great-grandparents lived up here, and apparently when my dad and my aunt and uncle were kids, my great-grandpa used to take them out on the logging roads, which were all gravel, and do like 90 miles an hour. I'd feel a little dicey doing that on the pavement. I'm sure they weren't seat belted or anything in at the time, so crazy adventures back in the probably 1960s. But of course there was far less traffic, and my great-grandfather living here knew all the roads like the back of his hand, so other than wildlife, and I'm sure he knew what he was doing. Well, I am dumbfounded. Yeah, I just saw a moose walk right in front of the car, paused a little bit in the ditch, and then went into the thicket. I haven't seen a moose up here in maybe 20 years, close to it at least. Just spectacular. So big, so quiet. The second I saw it, like, I had the GoPro plugged in, and when you unplug it fast and hit record, it usually goes to time lapse. And so I didn't get video of it going across the road. Hopefully some of those photos will turn out. And then I'm scrambling to get my phone and my camera and something else, and also take a minute to breathe and appreciate being able to see it. So hopefully some of the footage turned out. So fantastic, and I pretty much just stopped right in the middle of the road. Again, like I was just saying, there's not a lot of traffic here, so that wasn't a problem. A couple towing a boat headed in the opposite direction. I kind of waved them and pointed as they were going in, so they pulled over a bit past me and came walking back and got some shots of it too. And it just kind of hung out in the woods looking at the car, and then, you know, as the other people showed up, you know, just kind of waiting and looking, and then a couple trucks towing trailers that were kind of loud over the bumps approached, and you could hear them from quite a distance, and at that point the moose walked away. But it was there for 10 minutes maybe after it crossed the road. I really hope the GoPro images turned out. It was just so fantastic. And then I generally stay in my car, but once it was in the woods a good distance, and the other people had come out, I did get out of the car. And as I'm getting out of the car, I look the other way. There's a giant bald eagle going over the lake on the opposite side of the road, and it flies over and pulls a just giant stick off the top of a dead tree, hits that and flies off. I don't know if it was gathering nest materials or if it saw something there, but that was cool. But I had my camera all set for the deep woods, so again, I'll see if any of the footage turns out. It's like hunting Bigfoot out here, trying to get all the wildlife, but just a phenomenal experience. I probably sound like an idiot because, you know, some people see moose all the time, but not me, and not in northern Minnesota in a long time. So really special moment. Wish Joan and Ellie could have been here, but they probably prefer being asleep. Gonna continue northwest here for a little bit just to see if there's a good pullout for photography and stuff. So gonna do that, settle down a little bit, and then head back to Grand Marais. We'll see if we see any more moose. Headed back toward Grand Marais now. It's just about 7:15. I know it's cheesy, but still kind of reeling from that moose encounter. It was so cool. I continued up the Gunflint for a while, and then got out at the Gunflint Lake Scenic Overlook. And really the best view of the lake was right from the parking lot. I went down a trail thinking it would take me to kind of like an outcropping where you could see everything. So I went down the trail. Looks like there's must be some horse tours or something that go down that. But kept thinking, well, just around this corner, just, you know, between these trees, surely there will be something this will open up. And it never really did. After about 20 minutes to a half hour, I came out onto like some buildings and things. Maybe it was a different road too. Probably one of the outfitters or campgrounds kind of outbuildings. Probably whoever runs those horse tours. And realized I wasted a bunch of time. It wasn't a waste. It was a beautiful walk, and I wish I could share with you the smells of the kind of wet pine needles and a little bit boggy, but it's also sweet, and all the fresh growth of spring. Indescribable, but so distinct, you know it the second it hits you. That just brought back all sorts of great childhood memories. So it was a good walk, about 40 minutes to an hour, I'm not quite sure. But enjoyable, but now I'm running a little later than I planned on getting back to Grand Marais. So we'll get back there and get some donuts. I'm sure the line's out the door by now. We'll do that and see what the girls are up to. Hopefully they're still sleeping. Back to town with 43%. It's almost 8, so I'm gonna see if the girls are awake yet, and then we'll probably charge some more while we get donuts, but we'll see where they are. Just popped in and the girls are still fast asleep, so that's good. I'm gonna pull over here, see if anyone's charging, and then pick up some rolls, donuts. Looks like the chargers are clear. So again, hitting them when no one else is using them is the way to go. And we got a puppy. So plugged it in, got it set up, and just like yesterday, but it did not initialize. The car was saying waiting for equipment, and the station was stuck on this saying, hey, we're waiting to go. So waiting for this to reset. Looks like 36 seconds left, and then we'll try it again. Be interesting to see if it wants me to scan my card again. Just a minor slowdown. Worked a lot better last night. After a couple of times of the station not initializing and seeming to be locked up, I reset using the emergency stop. That started a 5-minute reset phase on the unit. However, when I put the handle back in to wait, it seemed to go back to normal other than the new wait time. I realized that I didn't replace the handle in the holder between my previous tries, and that may have solved the issue, in an easier on the hardware fashion than using the emergency stop. Going through the app may have given better results too, and I should have waited on the emergency stop until I'd tried everything else, but I was looking for a quick solution since non-EV people were watching, which is when failures always seem to happen. Alright, third time's the charm. There's the Minnesota map. So, now it's off to donuts. Good there. 46 kilowatts off the bat. And we'll just get what we get. And just like that, we're up at 66%. Still cooking at 48 kilowatt hours, or kilowatts. We've added 16 kilowatt hours, and I have donuts. So, gonna go wake the girls up, have some breakfast, and see what the day holds. I don't know if I actually hit record on that, but charged for 25 minutes, 19.5 kilowatt hours, got up to 68%. Gonna take John's adapter with me. Thanks again, John. And let's go have breakfast. Good morning and welcome to Downtown Grand Marais, Minnesota. It's a beautiful but a little blustery morning. And I want to talk a little bit about how technology changes over time and how we make better decisions. And a place that really exemplifies that is right here in the harbor. There's a lot of concern, and maybe rightly so, that as we move into greener technology and using things like solar panels in massive energy projects, that we're going to make bad decisions and take up valuable farmland with those panels. Now, obviously there are tons of buildings that these could be put on and parking lots that are just wasted space that might be better places ultimately for solar panels. But over the last 120 years of gasoline infrastructure that has been put in, we've learned to make better choices for the most part about where we place those assets. And here in downtown Grand Marais, there's a perfect example. There used to be a Standard station, Standard Oil gas station, right here, right across from the Blue Water Cafe, Lake Superior Trading Post, and the Ben Franklin. There was a gas station right here, just a few hundred feet from the harbor. And there still was Harbor Park. It was a little further west down the shoreline by the Bear Tree. And I have a lot of great memories of playing down here and didn't really notice the gas station as a child, but I did notice when they took it out. And I believe some of the tanks, the underground tanks, were leaching into the harbor. Obviously, that's something nobody wants. Future Brian jumping in here to go on a quick tangent and eat some humble pie. The problem with going from memory is you don't always remember things exactly correctly. And second of all, you can't have context on things you don't know the context for. And in this case, I was dead sure I was correct when I was recording up there, but after doing some more research for photos, I came across this book, which is Downtown Grand Marais by Eugene Glader, and he actually used to own the Blue Water Cafe and wrote this about kind of the transactions of how Downtown Grand Marais became the way it was. And Chapter 8 goes into the details of the Standard Station from when the land was purchased in 1924 all the way to 2000 when it was finally sold and removed. Lots of great photos and fantastic history in here on other topics, but we're going to stay focused on the gas station for today. Now in this photo from 1925 or 6, I can't tell where the fuel was initially stored, but by 1931, huge bulk oil tanks were placed along the harbor, and that may have been the plan from the start. At the time, it was far easier to get gas and oil up along the lake from Duluth than it would have been to take the mostly gravel road all the way over land. And that's why the proximity to the lake was important. Boats would anchor at these pylons and then pump directly into the tanks. The bulk tanks were removed when I was 1 year old, which is why I don't remember them. But the pylons were just these weird things out in the harbor that we would play on as kids, and actually one is still there with Joan and Ellie playing at it today. But the point is, the station and the bulk tanks being there too were a risk to the water of Lake Superior, but they were also necessary in building out what is modern Grand Marais and Cook County. This is the station as I remember it through the 80s and 90s, and it was sold in 2000, not necessarily because it was leaking as I remembered it, but that the new state regulations meant lots of renovation and remediation to make sure it wouldn't leak, and those changes would have been too costly for the owners. Now, there may have been leaks, but I didn't find any specific evidence of it. Regardless, moving the town's gas stations up the hill and away from the lake is a safer plan. So Brian, you just ruined your point. Well, maybe. I was definitely wrong about the motivations and the thought process going into placing these stations. But that also means that maybe we're wrong about assumptions we make about where new solar and wind stations are going in, because we also aren't in those planning meetings. The fact is, needs and technologies evolve together over time, and even if it takes 76 years, things can get better. Now back to past me. I know in some places it's claimed that solar in agricultural space can be beneficial to raising some livestock, I think like goats and some other things, because it provides a little bit of shade and may actually help some plants and beehives, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe it's not so bad, even in non-ideal situations. And I know there's also a lot of talk about bird strikes and wind turbines, but house and feral cats take a lot more birds than are striking wind turbines. Would it be great if it was zero? Absolutely. Would it be great if all the agricultural land could be used for agricultural purposes to the maximum benefit? Absolutely. But this is all still new deployment, new technology, and especially with solar, not that you would put it right here, but you could put it here and not have any concerns that it's going to contaminate the water. So we learn things over time, technology gets better over time, and we get smarter about where we place things. Although I have a lot of nostalgia for how downtown Grand Marais used to be, I'm glad some things have changed for the better. And it's still a great spot for skipping stones and seeing moose. So far we've gone 385 miles. Average use energy is 279 watt hours per mile. It's 10:38, 67%, 46 degrees. Oh, it was warmer this morning. Anyway, gonna start heading toward Duluth and see if we can make a stop in Tofte. We drove around the resort looking for good potential locations for the superchargers. By the highway would make sense, but those lots are pretty small. While driving through, we did find some level 2 chargers, but these seem pretty tucked away and like they'd be for guest use. On the way out and looking at the permit page from Marco RP Tesla on Twitter, and it looks like they will be in that small parking lot by the road, but they're going to expand it considerably. On supercharge.info, they're saying this will be a 12-stall supercharger. That seems massive for this tight location, but I guess we'll have to see how they expand the lot. By the time I'm now editing this in mid-June, the lot has been fenced off and equipment is on location. Thanks to Joe Swanson, who shared these photos on Facebook. And Christopher Nichols for sharing this drawing that shows 8 pedestals, which makes a lot more sense. Looking forward to charging here later this summer. Pulling into Two Harbors, we're still at 36%, so have plenty, but this is a good spot to grab some food. So we're gonna do a McDonald's drive-through, hit the Supercharger while we eat, take a restroom break at the Super One Foods, and then we'll be ready to plow through, heading south. Good drive for the most part. Coming down here, Ellie took a nap. Joan played with her books. I sat behind a very slow-moving camper towing an SUV. So pretty slow, but we made it. Probably good for efficiency, but just as we got into town, I started preconditioning, so you might be able to hear that ramping up right now. Didn't want to do a lot of preconditioning. We don't need a super fast charge here. Just wanted to get a little something, maybe warm up the pack a little bit before we charge. Gonna order food now, and you don't care about it. Alright, here with 34%, 470 miles for our total trip, 274 watt-hours per mile. The current trip from Grand Marais was 85 miles, 248 watt-hours per mile. So let's get plugged in. Same 50 minutes remaining. We're not going to charge up to 100%. Like I said, we're just going to eat lunch. Kilowatts are ramping up. This is a 250 kilowatt charger, but I wasn't preconditioning for too long, so we might be a little slow, but that's all right. 140 for now is fine. All right, 12:56, we're at 92%. I still haven't had time to use the restroom, so gonna do that, but we're gonna unplug first because we don't need to be plugged in. So far this session has been $16.26. 94%, plenty to get home. I navigated home a few minutes ago and it said we'd get there with 11%, but that was a few percent ago. We're gonna need a bathroom stop on the way anyway, so we'll see how that works out. We're gonna take off. Let's roll. 'Pit stop in Hinckley for a little diaper action. Restrooms, we're gonna plug in, but we could have made it home without. It was originally navigating us to North Branch for a few minutes, but then we were gonna get home with like 22%, which is unnecessary. We are gonna plug in here, don't really need it. So here are the stats. We got here with 49%. It's almost 80 degrees. So warming up as we head south. Again, we didn't precondition because we didn't plan on stopping here, but that's all right. We're not looking for a ton of charge. And we're good. How are you doing? Dad, my knee still hurts. My knee still hurts. I'm wearing too many jackets. For not needing a stop, we stopped for a long time. Not sure how long, but it took a while. So we're definitely good to make it home if we weren't before. Now saying we have a range of 215. Got up to 86% on a 150. Definitely too long. It's 3:05, we gotta hit the road. That quick pit stop in Hinckley left us with 92 miles to home, at least from here. And we should get there with 42%. So again, overcharged, but we were just there longer than planned. Family things, not car things. Like previous trips up here, really the charging you do is during things you'd be doing anyway on a family trip. Didn't really add much of anything being in an electric car rather than a gas car. And that's the great thing about relatively fast charging in multiple stops. Originally, you know, the only supercharger up there was Duluth and everything else was level 2. There's now the 50 kilowatt in Grand Marais, which is helpful up there. There's going to be a V3 supercharger in Tofte. It's going to make things even easier. Black Bear and Two Harbors. Hinckley has been here a while, but now we've got North Branch as another option, as well as multiple superchargers in the Twin Cities. So whenever you may have a diaper emergency or something, you know, and need to make an unexpected stop, the more charging that gets installed, the easier it is in those places to make a family stop and a charging stop knit together. So more of that's coming as more infrastructure grows. Let's get home. And the sound of the wolf says we're home. And it is 4:33. We got here with a very ample 42%, 79 degrees. It's been floating between that and 81 Fahrenheit. The last stretch was 97 miles, 294 watt hours per mile. We were going a little quicker on that stretch. And our overall trip was 669 miles, used 186 kilowatt hours, with an average energy of 278 watt hours per mile. So pretty good between the cool temperatures and now the warmer, quicker drive home. So good trip, not what we expected, but happy to be home and still time to mow the lawn today. Have a great day. I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching. Can you say bye-bye? All right, bye-bye. Thanks.